Syracuse men's lacrosse season is on its last lights. The 4-6 Orange entered tonight's matchup needing to win 3 of its last 4 in order to be postseason eligible, and that would be no easy task. With number 4 Cornell coming to the Dome, even though the Orange took an 11-6 lead into the halftime break, Syracuse collapsed, scoring just 4 goals in the second half en route to a 16-15 overtime loss. We'll tell you what went wrong in a catastrophic half number 2, what it means for the season, and even more, state of the program. It's Orange Press Pass, and it starts right now. Hey, and welcome inside our CitrusTV studios alongside Ian Nicholas, Adam Cohen. I'm Johnny Gadamowitz. Syracuse men's lacrosse falls in overtime to number 4 Cornell, and we're here to break it all down. 16-15 the final, but guys, before we take a deep dive into tonight, I want to get your initial reactions. Frustrating, head-scratching loss. Ian, you walk away from tonight thinking what?
I think something that Coach Gate has told us all season with the media, this team doesn't have the personnel to win these games against these top teams. It doesn't mean the lack of effort is there. It means that when it comes down to the final few minutes, there's just a few screw-ups here and there, and they don't have the personnel to get them over the top, especially against the number 4 team in the country, Johnny.
Well, Ian, and with a lot of those final minutes type things, Syracuse is never able to really make the adjustments needed. If you look at today, they were up 7-2 after the first and 11-6 going into half. Coming out of half, Cornell put up 10 goals, Syracuse put up 4. They need to figure out how to make adjustments. That's how they might have a shot.
Well, Syracuse began its final 4-game stretch of the season tonight, all of which are against teams that are currently ranked. SU coming off its worst loss of the year against an unranked UAlbany squad with a prime opportunity for a bounce-back win inside the Dome. First meeting since 2019 between the Empire State foes, and early on, you mentioned that tough loss for Syracuse. They came out guns a-blazing. Owen Seabold that time on the lefty doorstep gives Syracuse an early 3-0 lead. SU would actually jump out to a 6-1 lead. Jackson Burtwhistle, a big reason why. He had 2 in that first quarter, but Cornell would hang around though. John Piatelli, get used to hearing that name, his first of the day, but Brendan Curry doing his best Superman impression makes it 8-4 Syracuse. Haven't called Tucker Dordovic's name a lot yet, but he gets on the score sheet as well. That pushes the SU lead to 6. Late second quarter though, Piatelli again shaves it to 5. It's 10-5 Syracuse. Orange feeling pretty good. Rolling into the second half though, different story. It was a different Syracuse team. Billy Coyle that time tacks one on for Cornell. That makes it 11-8, and then Coyle again, number 11, with a really strong third quarter. That made it 12-10. We move into the fourth quarter now. Hugh Kelleher keeps the train rolling for the Big Red. We're tied up at 12. Oh boy, Syracuse in need of an answer, and it comes from the All-American Brendan Curry. 14-13 SU. Cornell would tie it up. SU takes the lead again, that time Tucker Dordovic. It's 15-14. Orange feeling good, but closing stages. Cornell on offense, and Michael Long pulls us even at 15 apiece. Orange fans thinking, oh boy, we've seen this movie before. And defensive coordinator Dave Petramala getting his guys ready for overtime. Cornell wins the opening possession in overtime, and they put the exclamation point on it. Hugh Kelleher wins it for the Big Red as the Orange fall to 4-7 on the year.
Well, what I see is Tucker Dordovic, he's been winning a lot this season with the highlight reel, guys, but you see it there on the graphic, 11 shots, 3 goals. This has been his thing all year long. The efficiency hasn't been there. And I think Brendan Curry stepped up in a big way tonight to try to keep Syracuse in this thing in the first half and, give him enough cushion to compete in the second half with Cornell.
Couldn't agree with you more. Brendan Curry putting up 4 goals. Absolutely key to them being able to take this game. But look at Curry and Dordovic. They both put up 11 shots, so 22 total. They only hit 7 of them. I wouldn't call that very efficient for your 2 superstars. I really think if they're going to start to pull things out, they need to get some efficiency from their big names and even the little guys.
Well, we now have the pleasure of being joined by CitrusTV men's lacrosse beat reporter Braden Reed. Braden, tough day at the office for Jacob Fopp. Under 50% on the day from the face-off X. Lost a couple key face-offs down the stretch. What do you see out of him, particularly in that second half?
Yeah, Johnny, I didn't really see anything one way or the other that made me think he was out of sorts. He's a reserved guy, and he's confident in his ability too. Really having a bounce-back year this season. And he was only a shade under 50% on the game today. So obviously there probably were some face-offs down the stretch that he would have liked to have back that really would have helped this team. But he's a confident guy, and his coach, T.D. Irwin, is confident in him as well. So he looks at every face-off as a new opportunity. And look, sure there were some wish he had back, but still a good performance from him today.
Hey, Braden, I will keep it with the second half. The Big Red, they were down 5 heading into the final 30 minutes and then only down 1 heading into the final 15. What did you see, whether it was emotionally from Cornell or with the strategy that was able to get them back in the game so quickly?
Yeah, Ian, I lean more towards the energy side of things, but honestly, there wasn't that big of a shift. Look, this is the number 4 team in the country for a reason. They're extremely talented, and they know what they're capable of, and their coach said after the game that he told them during the game, just keep going, right? They're talented. They know what they need to do. They just need to go out there and execute. They're only down by 5 at the half. Were able to work their way all the way back into this game, and like we know, eventually win it. So that was the message. That's what they kept doing. Didn't need to change anything. Just keep doing what you're doing, and the chips are going to fall where they may.
So Braden, getting towards the end of the game, both teams seemed to take a lot of timeouts. And coming out of timeouts, did it seem to you like there was anybody specific that each team was targeting?
Yeah, Adam, on the Syracuse side of things, absolutely. They wanted to get the ball into the stick of either Brendan Curry or Tucker Dordevic, and for good reason, right? These are their 2 best players, their 2 scoring leaders, and that worked, right? Tucker Dordevic down the stretch got them that goal that put them up. That was eventually answered, but right, those are the 2 guys that they really looked to. It was a concerted effort to get them the ball. For Cornell, though, they spread the ball around much more, and their coach said after the game that their game-winning goal in overtime, they got to their 3rd or 4th dodge of that possession before the ball went into the back of the net. So that just shows how talented, how widespread the group of talent, for lack of a better word, that Cornell has, and that showed today and was the reason why they won this game.
All right, well, that's our men's lacrosse beat reporter, Braden Reed. Nothing but the best, per usual. Still lots to get to here on OPP. We're just getting started. When we come back, we'll tell you what went into Syracuse's red-hot first half and abysmal second half. All that and more coming up when we come back.
Here you go.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hey, welcome back to Orange Press Pass. I'm Johnny Gadamowitz, joined tonight by Ian Nicholas, Adam Cohen. We're breaking down Syracuse's 16-15 overtime loss to number 4 Cornell, a heartbreaker of a loss for the Orange. But guys, believe it or not, there is a positive, if you want to call it a positive, to take out of tonight's contest. Syracuse had a heck of a first half. The Orange held a comfortable 5-goal lead at the break. SU actually started the game on a 6-1 run. Ian, Gary Gates' crew slammed their foot on the gas pedal and didn't take it off.
And Johnny, this has been a huge problem for the Orange all year long in Coach Gary Gate. They have, Adam, gotten off to notoriously awful starts, but everyone here in the studio was stunned at the 7-2 first quarter that they put together. They played a phenomenal 15 minutes, whether it was defense turning into offense, getting guys like Siebold and Berkman involved in the early going, pole goals, 2 of them in the first 15 minutes. Everything was pitch perfect.
Well, I mean, going off of that hot start, they got off to a 7-2 score after the first quarter. But you know what's crazy about that 7-2 score?
What?
No goals were scored by Brendan Curry or Tucker Dordevic. I mean, those are your 2 superstars, and you got the rest of the team showing up and showing out. I mean, that's really how you're going to get good. Jackson Britwhistle had 2 goals in the first quarter. He's a guy who's only got 3 on the season, and they showed up. Incredible.
So a solid quarter number 1 and 2, in large part due to the fact, Adam, you alluded to it, Syracuse had 9 different goal scorers in that first half, and Adam, it came from some unlikely characters.
Yeah, so, I mean, you mentioned 9 of the 10 first goals were scored by others than Brendan Curry or Tucker Dordevic. Dordevic did get on the board with that 10th goal, and after that, it was really the Tucker and Curry type thing. But neither of those guys scored in the first quarter, as I mentioned. And they seemed to play very selfless ball early on. A lot of passing, finding the open guy, and taking the open shot.
Especially after that UAlbany loss, where Siebold and Dordevic, a depleted Syracuse team, in that game, they really tried to take over. And what did it lead to? 21 misses on 27 takes. Today, I know we're talking about the early going, Adam, but we saw 9 different players for the Orange get in the score column, and very rarely do you lose a game when that happens. Unfortunately, it happened tonight, and that's because the number 4 team in the nation was in town, Johnny.
Yeah, unfortunately, that first half momentum certainly did not carry over into half number 2. SU put up just 4 goals in the second half compared to Cornell's 9. Make that 10 if you include the overtime game winner. Guys, half number 2 really could not have gone much worse.
In that offense that I've been praising, a big reason why it fell apart, I think, is because of a defensive strategy from the Big Red. They were getting torched in their man-to-man defense early on in this game, Adam. They moved to more of a zone look to try to slow down the Syracuse offensive attack and make them make more mistakes. And in that second half, I think they were able to tweak that zone a little bit more, tighten it up, and really suffocate Syracuse. Cornell, they had a lot of turnovers in that first half, but in the second half, it was the Orange who were making more mental errors, and they weren't able to get those possessions off to as many hot starts.
Well, Ian, I mentioned it with my first thought. Syracuse needed to make adjustments. Well, Cornell at halftime, they went in the locker room and they made those adjustments. They came out and they played very tough in the second half, where Syracuse just didn't. In the first half, Syracuse looked, and I have the word written down here, fearless. They were beating guys up, throwing shoulders and whatever they needed to, scoring goals, driving. In the second half, they played, I use the term passive. They didn't seem as powerful. They didn't seem like they wanted it as much.
Great vocabulary.
Well,
Thank you.
Either way, it all amounts to a Syracuse team that is now just 4-7 on the year, and it means they need to win out. The Orange must be 500 in order to be considered for postseason eligibility, and they're 3 games below with 3 games left. One person who knows that all too well, SU Midi Brendan Curry.
It's been a long 4 or 5 years for a lot of us seniors, 6 for BK. Just an emotional game. Coming down the stretch, I only got a couple games left in the Dome for a program that we all grew up, absolutely loving. So it's tough when the ball doesn't bounce your way, and you got to just keep fighting. And we told the guys to just lean on each other during this time. Pretty unfamiliar for a lot of us, so it's a weird feeling, but just taking in every second you have with your teammates, and everyone in the program is doing their best to do that.
So guys, Curry sees the writing on the wall. Difficult to see how this team takes down number 15 UNC on the road, number 6 Virginia, and then number 10 Notre Dame.
You know, that was just really a shame to see that, because we know the talent that Brendan Curry has, and we know the reason why he wears the number 16, Adam. It's for his father, who was a Syracuse legend, a multi-time All-American back in the 1980s when this program was the gold standard in college lacrosse. And now to see this, 3 straight losses, 3 games below 500, I mean, it's a huge step backward.
I mean, 3 games below 500, but you heard Curry. I mean, he sounds still a little bit confident. He said these guys are just going to need to support each other if they want to get through this. And, I mean, I can't agree with him more. If you're going to beat 3 very ranked opponents, you're going to need the support of your teammates. So if these guys band together, it might be possible.
All very ranked. I would agree with that statement, Adam. But you look at Cornell, we've hit on Syracuse. John Piatelli, a man on a mission for the Big Red today. The 5th year takes home our Orange Press Pass Player of the Game. He's had at least 2 goals in every game that Cornell has played this season. How about 6 today? The Syracuse defense, just no answers whatsoever. Those 6 goals come on only 10 shots. He also poured in 3 assists as well. It was clear right from the get-go that the memo for the Big Red was feed Piatelli, and safe to say that it worked out pretty well. Time for another quick break, but when we come back, put those phones away and get the notebooks out. It's time for a report card. We'll hand out some grades on SU Lax for the 2022 season.
They took over my bedroom. Come on, come on. Okay, Dad. 1, 2, 3. Dad! You saved me. Dad?
Are you okay?
I'm fine, dear.
Your hero needs you now, and AARP is here to help. Find the care guides you need at aarp.org/caregiving.
OTN is on all your favorite apps: Apple TV, Fire TV, and Roku. Search Orange Television Network or OTN. OTN has its best shows, short films, and CitrusTV on demand. Family and friends can watch OTN too. Watch the live stream of OTN to catch live CitrusTV news, live from Studio B, and mornings on the Hill. On or off campus, watch OTN anywhere.
Welcome back to Orange Press Pass. Johnny Gadamowitz, Ian Nicholas, Adam Cohen with you, breaking down Syracuse's 16-15 overtime loss to the number 4 Cornell Big Red. And guys, now it's time to zoom out, take a little more of a macro overview on this year's team. We've got some grades to hand out, and I hear that you guys have some pretty high standards. And first up, I want to start with Tucker Dordevic. We all know about the highlight reel goals and the ACC accolades, his leadership mentality, but it hasn't necessarily translated into wins. So my question for you, Ian, where are you on Dordevic's 2022 campaign?
I've got a B-. You're not going to make the dean's list very easily in my class, Mr. Gadamowitz, and this is why. I get it. Occasionally he peaks, he turns in a good paper, and you're like, wow, this guy, he's really got the goods. But then you see he's got a shooting percentage near 30%, and you're like, why are you shooting the ball so much? You know, can you condense it a little bit? Our word limit was 1,500. You got 2,000 right now. Tucker, we know you're good, but share the ball a little more and stop chucking it from all over the place.
All right, Ian. I'm going to disagree with you a little bit. I'm going to give Mr. Dordovic an A-. He does lead the team in goals, and last I checked, goals are how you win.
They don't win a lot.
I know they haven't won a lot this season, but without Tucker Dordovic's now 39 goals, where is this team? They've scored 148 total. He's accounted for, I don't know, a solid 33% of their goals. If you lose Mr. Dordovic, you're kind of screwed. And look, his quiz and test averages might not be great, but you know what? He's making up for it with the homeworks. He's definitely helping himself out. So A- from me.
All right, so avoid Professor Nicholas when you're registering for classes on My Slice later this week. How about Jacob Fopp, guys? This is the face-off specialist for Syracuse that has had an okay year, maybe not what you would expect with what you've seen in the past from number 37. But Adam, where are you on Fopp's 2022 campaign?
Johnny, I'm not sold. I'm giving him a C+.
Ooh.
And look, C's get degrees, as I've heard in the halls, but in my class, C+ isn't great. Jacob Fopp is having an okay season. C+ is okay. He's won a bunch of face-off battles against a few teams, but he hasn't seemed to come up when necessary. And look, quiz and test averages, it gets you there. Those are the big chunks of your grade, and in my eyes, Jacob Fopp has not shown up when he needs to.
Look, Jacob came out of the gates in our school phenomenal. In 2020, he's one of the best face-off men in the nation. Nearly a 70% win rate at X in the middle of the field. But I'm going to give him a B+ because he's still top 15 in the nation, top 15 in our class for face-off win percentage. And that's pretty good for a team that's not ranked. He's top 15, and I get it. Oh, good old Jacob. He's not getting the job done. Well, in reality, he is, but up to his standard that he showed us, he's underachieving, but still getting the job done at the end of the day.
Yes, B+ is still a good grade. I have him going a little better.
A lot of high grades for a team that's 4-7. I want to put that out there. And maybe there's a reason that I'm not handing out the grades. You guys are tough. I got one more for you, though. It's Bobby Gavin, the Syracuse netminder, transfers in from the national championship Virginia Cavaliers last year, assumes the starting goalie role, hasn't really held it all year, but has since regained it since splitting time with Harrison Thompson. Ian, we'll come to you first here. Where are you on Bobby Gavin in his first season in Orange?
I shall give him a C- because, look, he's got the talent. We know he does. He was the backup at UVA, but you're not the backup at UVA if you just came off the street. You should be able to get the job done when they put you in the game. And Bobby Gavin, an average save percentage in college lacrosse is give or take 50%. Great is 60%. And as you saw in that graphic a second ago, 45% for Bobby Gavin. He's had many chances to up his game, to be pushed by Harrison Thompson, to become the guy in cage for Dave Petramala's defense, and he simply has not become that guy yet, and I don't think he's going to become that guy anytime soon, Adam.
Ian, I completely agree with you. You said he hasn't become the guy yet. Well, the D+ you're getting in my class, you really haven't become. You gave him a C-. A D+ ain't that big of a difference. But I just haven't seen what I need to see out of Bobby Gavin. He's very inconsistent and doesn't seem to have a floor or a ceiling to work off of. You don't know what you're getting with this guy when you throw him in net. You could have an incredible game, or you could have his floor. You don't know what you're getting, and the inconsistency is what gives it to me.
And just one quick thing, so interesting, you see it on that graphic, look at that save percentage. We all praised Drake Porter last year, Johnny. Save percentage, and we dog Bobby Gavin whenever we can. I know Drake Porter had a down year last year, but so interesting how we look at those things.
Yeah, well, Syracuse fans were certainly spoiled in net with the man between the pipes, Drake Porter, the last few years, albeit the down year in 2021. We got to take one more break. When we come back, we'll look at Syracuse's next matchup. Newsflash, it doesn't get much easier. A trip to Chapel Hill on the docket. We'll tell you what you need to know, all that and more coming up on OPP. Wrapping up shop here on OPP, but you're not done with us just yet. Johnny Gadamowitz, Ian Nicholas, Adam Cohen, telling you everything you need to know about Syracuse's 16-15 overtime loss inside the Dome against Cornell. But guys, next time out, Syracuse will not have the luxury of playing in the friendly confines of the Carrier Dome. A tough task ahead going to Chapel Hill to take on a really gritty Tar Heels squad led by Tewaaraton watchlister in Chris Gray.
Well, they might be really gritty, but they're not doing a lot of winning recently, Johnny. They've taken a couple of really tough losses to two of the top teams in the nation. And Syracuse, well, they're not one of the top teams in the nation, Adam, but they're playing a slumping Tar Heels team that is gimping their way to the finish line, much like the Orange. So I think this one is really a 50-50 battle, in my opinion. Syracuse is going to be highly motivated with really their season, postseason, no chance.
I'd love to say that this is going to be a back-and-forth battle, although UNC is, if you look at the graphic, 0-3 against the ACC, and last I checked, Syracuse is in the ACC. But what I was starting with, UNC is ranked for a reason. They're number 15. They're led by a Tewaaraton watchlister. There's a reason that they're up there, and then there's a reason Syracuse is not. So this is going to be a very interesting game between 15 and unranked.
Two ACC squads that know each other very well, and you guys hit the nail on the head. Both of them going through a little bit of a down year this season, but you rewind to last time out, and it was all Tar Heels, Adam.
Yeah, I mean, last time out, Syracuse lost 21-9 against, at the time, number 5 ranked UNC. They went down 7-1 after the first quarter, and from there, clearly they did not come back. I mean, how do you go down 7-1 and then lose 21-9, barely scoring as much as the Tar Heels did in the first quarter?
Such a bad loss in the middle of last season, which was one of the most disappointing in program history. And you see it on the screen here. They were playing in the 3-1-5, which I think, Johnny, was the most stunning part. This is a different team in the Carrier Dome. They didn't win tonight, but they still played their hearts out, and they showed no heart in that game, and there was just nothing going for the Syracuse Orange in 2021.
Certainly looking forward to that one, but guys, as far as tonight is concerned, you gave me your initial thoughts. Now I want the final thoughts. Ian, what's the takeaway after a loss like this?
The takeaway is they needed this. And you're saying, get this guy off my screen. He's crazy. But am I? Because, look, you go to a rainy UAlbany game and you lose a game against a mid-major you should have no business losing to. In the game before, they got decimated by Notre Dame. In this game, well, the expectations, they were underground. And what do? You bring a top 5 team in the country down to the wire in overtime. I think it was admirable, and I think this is exactly what this team needed heading into the final stretch of the season. It's what this program needed, not just for this season, but moving forward.
I mean, you mentioned that Syracuse kind of pulled out a little bit of the unexpected in the first half. Everybody was expecting Syracuse to get buried by Cornell, and they came out. They were up 7-2 after the first. So my final thought is, look, at this point, you're 4-7. Just go out there and have fun. You've got 3 games left. Go out there and try and take them. Have some fun, and maybe you'll win all 3.
Syracuse certainly not having a whole lot of fun right now. An excruciating 16-15 overtime loss. Orange need to go 3 for 3 in the rest of the season if they want to make the postseason. That's going to do it for us with Ian Nicholas and Adam Cohen. I'm Johnny Gadamowitz. Thanks so much for tuning in. We'll see you next time.